Hi, I'm EllaAradia and welcome to your Psychic Tarot Love Reading. This reading is for my Aries, Leo and Sagittarius fire signs. The timestamps are below, where we'll be taking a deeper dive into your person's hidden feelings for you. This is a love reading and it's for those of you who are already connected with someone, even if you are currently in no contact with your person. This will be a very specific message, so it may not resonate for all of you. If it feels right, then it's meant for you. Otherwise, you may want to check out the readings for your other placements, so Sun, Moon, Rising, or Venus. And before we jump in, a big thank you to all of you who are supporting my channel by liking and subscribing. So if you enjoy this reading and you haven't already done that, please do. It helps the channel out a lot. It doesn't cost anything to subscribe, and then you get notified when the next videos are up. So Aries, let's jump in. So I always like to tune into the energies first, Aries, before I start pulling cards. I see the energy of a new person that may have recently entered your life. For some of you, you may be single. Some of you, I feel like you might still be involved with somebody. And I'm just seeing somebody else coming into the mix here. Someone who is, quite charismatic, very charming, and kind of saying all of the right things, doing all of the right things. And of course, that feels great, that feels amazing. But I'm getting a kind of caution here around just taking time to get to know this person. Is everything what it seems? Now, for some of you in a connection, it may be that this new person showing up is maybe representing that missing element that might be in your present connection. That's not going to be for all of you, but I just feel like, whoever you are presently involved with, for those of you who it resonates, I feel like there's some issues going on which, need working out. And sometimes, we can have these missing elements kind of showing up through different channels, different people. But the invitation may not always be to kind of take that. It might be about working on, the issues that you do have in your connection. So for those of you that are single, this is a new person that I'm seeing recently coming into your life. With your overall energies, we have the Magician, which is a card of potential, seeing the potential. Seeing the potential in another person, in the connection. Your person's view of you, the Empress. This is a card of growth, of rebirth, of pouring your energy, into another person and looking at, who you want to kind of invest your energy into. So it's usually someone who really does want to look after you and nurture you. There are feelings towards you, the Three of Wands. So we've got a lot of energies of growth, because the Three of Wands, it's all about possibility. It's all about growth. And it's very often the energy of, somebody moving out of their comfort zone. Their intentions towards you, the Page of Cups, a new offer of love, a cup of love. Some kind of new beginning in love. Your feelings towards your situation, the Five of Wands, conflict. I'm feeling two energies here. I'm feeling this new person that's recently, come into your life. It might be somebody that's just, showing an interest at the moment, that might be just orbiting around you, because, there's a part of your energy that, maybe it is a little bit open to that, not fully happy in your present, relationship. And that might be creating a little bit of inner conflict for you. Five of Wands is all about conflict. Sometimes that can be conflict in our relationship. It can be an inner conflict inside of ourselves. I get the sense, though, that many of you are feeling a little bit conflicted here because on the one hand, you know, there is this person where there's love, there's caring, there's, you know, there's history, there's a deeper bond is what I'm sensing. But yet something feels a little bit like you've sort of drifted apart or kind of grown apart or something like that. And along comes this new person who is, you know, bringing the energy, bringing those sparks and showing that attention and that interest. It's like an energy of excitement. And so there's quite a conflict going on here. You know, do you kind of stay and work it out with your person here? Because I do feel that they, you know, they do want to grow. I do feel like they're willing to, you know, move out of their comfort zone and be vulnerable and open up. And I get the sense that, you know, they want to grow together with you and they want some kind of, you know, fresh start or renewal here with the Page of Cups. Let's just look at your challenge. So in the challenge, we have temperance, healing, moderation, balance. It's often a card that comes up when there is an invitation to integrate our shadow, let's say. It's all about healing. It's all about, you know, working through old patterns, old fears and insecurities that might be holding you back. And there may be a little bit of a challenge around perhaps, you know, facing that, doing that work. You know, it takes a lot of courage sometimes to, you know, really go within and, you know, face, you know, those more vulnerable parts of ourselves. Your hidden influence. The Six of Swords, which is a card of transition. It's all about moving away from, you know, difficult times, choppy waters, and, you know, moving on to, you know, calmer shores. The swords in the boat, they represent the wisdom that is learnt, you know, from our lessons, the lessons of the past, you know, the lessons of our past experiences. And, you know, this is the wisdom that we take with us moving forwards. And what I do like about this card as well, you can read it in this way too. There's two people in the boat, you know, and it can represent, you know, overcoming, you know, these challenging times, these obstacles together, you know, growing together and moving towards kind of calmer shores, towards a place of healing. And there is an invitation, you know, the hidden influence is usually something that's impacting the connection in some way that you might not be aware of. So there may be, you know, there's some powerful, you know, soul lessons in this connection, because it does feel like soulmate energy. With your advice from the universe, the Seven of Cups, you've got options, you do have a choice to make. But the important thing is about making the right choice here, because each cup, you know, it has something different in it. Each cup has a potential here, but there's also clouds around the cup, which really do give a caution around not being clouded by illusion. And I just strongly get the sense that, you know, while there might be this new person that's kind of orbiting around you that kind of seems to have perhaps all those missing elements from your present connection, it takes time to get to know somebody. And that's what I just keep feeling about this. You know, it takes some months to really start to to get to know somebody, and not everything may be as it seems. And I think I got this for your monthly reading as well. You know, a little bit of a caution around, you know, just taking your time here, not rushing in, making sure that you're, you know, making decisions through a clear space in your head and in your heart. The outcome is the moon. Often comes in when there's a little bit of a lack of clarity. It can represent, you know, using your intuition to navigate the situation. It also can represent, you know, the other thing that we were talking about around, you know, healing and integrating, you know, those deeper subconscious parts of ourselves, our fears and our anxieties, because the person that you are currently involved with, I do feel like there's an invitation to, you know, heal and grow together. And that invitation is definitely there, you know, with that Six of Swords. What lies beyond the sun is the Knight of Cups, a new offer of love. Now that could be a renewal of some kind, you know, within your present connection, but some kind of, I feel, a fresh start. You know, working together on, you know, whatever those fears and insecurities are, and some kind of renewal of love. Now, for some of you, you may feel that, you know, your present connection is, you know, coming to a completion, and you may make that choice also, and there may well be a new offer of love coming in. But just make sure that, you know, whoever that is, that you take your time to get to know that person, use your discernment, and just make sure that, you know, everything here is, you know, really what it seems. So Aries, let's get your person's hidden message for you. So the hidden message is more for those of you who are in some kind of no contact situation. Aries. I know I messed up everything. You were the best thing in my life. I couldn't let you get close to me. Just being near you is intoxicating. I wish I could take back my words. So Aries, I'm going to leave that there. We are going to move on to Leo. So Leo. So, okay, just let me do one more shuffle. Leo, what do we have for Leo? Okay. So I always like to tune into the energies first, Leo, before I start pulling cards. I always like to just see what comes through. I feel love, and I also get the sense of being right at this point where something is about to go to the next level here with the person that you're dealing with. And I feel like there are a lot of, you know, fears and insecurities coming up in you, Leo. And I do feel like this might be quite a challenging time for you. I'm really feeling that, because there's just an energy of, you know, a kind of a rawness and just feeling, you know, very open, where, you know, you are sort of moving into this energy of really letting yourself be seen. But I feel like it's quite a challenge. And I do feel like you have somebody here who sees the potential with you. They see you as their person. They have you down as their life partner. but I feel like they're needing a little more from you. And the thing is, obviously with this, it can be reversed sometimes. It can be around the other way. So with your overall energies, we have the Hierophant. This is often a card of commitment, of, you know, building strong foundations, you know, in relationships which are, you know, built off shared values. And it often comes in when somebody is waiting for some kind of commitment. It could be marriage, it could be moving in. It's also a card of, you know, faith. Sometimes I think of this as a counseling card where, you know, we can sometimes be seeking out guidance, you know, from someone, you know, a wise mentor or trusted friend. So some of you might be doing that right now. You might be talking to friends and kind of getting advice and things like that. Your person's view of you, the Queen of Wands. Their feelings towards you, the Six of Wands. I love that. Their intentions towards you, the Ace of Wands. So clearly, you know, this is someone who is, you know, really attracted to you. They, you know, you have a very magnetic energy. You know, this is definitely your energy. Very magnetic energy, very charismatic. You know, someone who is very much in their power, follows their heart. And I love that the Six of Wands is there, because this is a card of recognition, of acknowledgement. And whoever you are dealing with, Leo, I feel like they are recognizing you for who you truly are. They see you and they're acknowledging that. And I feel like that's so important in a connection, to be with somebody who, you know, really celebrates you and lets you shine your light and be who you truly are. So I do feel like you're dealing with someone who absolutely adores you and sees the potential in this connection. And of course, you know, this is fire energy, it's passion, it's that sexual chemistry and attraction. And, you know, so you've got both of those things there, you know, someone who is, you know, absolutely celebrating who you are and, you know, super, super attracted to you. So there's definitely a lot of sparks between you and this person. And, you know, with the Hierophant as, you know, the overall energies between you, I think that's amazing, because that's all about, you know, building those solid foundations towards the long term and the future. So your feelings towards your person, the Ten of Swords. Let's just look at your challenge, death. So death is all about, I feel, doing things differently. You know, it's all about letting go of old versions of ourselves, you know, negative, limiting beliefs. It's really a card of transition. And it does represent, you know, the shedding of those old layers, those old versions, and moving in to, you know, something more, a better place in yourself, in the connection. When I feel into this, I don't tend to pull clarifying cards because I like to do that myself. You know, primarily I'm actually a psychic channel. When I feel into this card, I get a little bit of a caution around, you know, are you bringing a past heartbreak, or, you know, someone that you had a difficult or challenging ending with into this connection? Because I do feel like there's some kind of challenge here around, you know, moving into, you know, something better, something more, a better place in yourself. There's some kind of challenge around, you know, this transition here. because I just keep getting drawn into the dawn in the background there. You know, with every ending, there is a new beginning. And there might be a little bit of, you know, losing trust perhaps, which is kind of making it difficult to really embrace this connection. Your hidden influence, we have the Five of Cups. So there is an energy here of regret and looking back at the past, a sense of loss. And it's usually when we are a little bit fixated on the past, on what could have been, or, you know, where things kind of run through our minds around, you know, if I had shown up differently, maybe it would have been different. If I'd said this or done that, maybe things would have turned out differently. And there is this sense of loss. And I really do feel that it's related to whatever this Ten of Swords is, this challenging, difficult ending. I get the sense you may have had a betrayal in your past. And, you know, it's created a lot of heartbreak, sadness, disappointment that affects trust. And it might be making it difficult for you to really trust this connection, this new connection that I'm seeing. Might not be super new. It might be, you know, some months, something like that. But there may be, you know, someone in the past where, you know, there was a heartbreak, a betrayal that perhaps very deeply affected you. And if you look at the image of the card, there's two cups which are still standing. And, you know, this is always the hidden blessings, you know, that there is always something to be gained from something that perhaps has been lost. You know, whether that's a soul lesson, I mean, it's usually a soul lesson, but in this case, I feel like those cups are you know, are cups of love. And this is what really is on the table with this new person coming in. And it's just really a question, I feel, Leo, around really trusting that and letting yourself kind of go with that flow here. So with your advice from the universe, the Ace of Cups, this is all about keeping your heart open. Don't let the past close your heart, you know, shut you down, close you off. This is about keeping your heart open. And, you know, the water overflowing the cup, that represents the emotions. And, you know, just allowing your emotions to flow. Let them guide you towards, you know, those deeper connections, those healthy connections here. And what lies in your outcome, the Fool, a whole new fresh start, a new chapter, a new beginning. And it may very well be one that requires some kind of leap of faith on your side, you know, approaching this new connection with an open heart, even if, you know, you don't see kind of the destination just yet. It's about, you know, just trusting what's unfolding and just really following your heart in this situation. So, Leo, let's get your person's hidden message. So the hidden message is more for those of you who are in some kind of no contact situation. Leo. Okay. I regret lying to you. I know that I crossed the line with you. It sounds like something's gone down for you. Probably whatever that Ten of Swords was. I wish I could share my good news with you. I bury myself in work to forget you. I love you unconditionally. So Leo, I'm going to leave that there. We are going to move on to Sagittarius. So Sagittarius, let's see what we have for you. Okay. So Sagittarius, I always like to just tune into the energies first before I start pulling cards. I always like to see what comes through. So primarily I'm actually a psychic channel. For some of you, I feel like this may be an ex returning, a connection from the past returning. The image I get shown is somebody just suddenly kind of walking back into your life again. You know, it's like somebody walking forwards and they become visible, but it's like you know this person. It doesn't feel like a new connection. And I do feel a little bit of a choice here around, do you stay on your current path? Or is this something that you're going to choose to revisit? With your overall energies, the Eight of Pentacles, which is a card of putting the work in, putting the work into something, somebody that, you know, you obviously want to get something back from. Now, sometimes that can be about putting the work into a relationship, a person, but sometimes it's about yourself and, you know, investing in yourself and putting that work into yourself. Your person's view of you, the Star, this is someone who wants a new beginning, a renewal. That's why I feel like it's someone kind of, circling back around. They want some kind of new beginning because it's a card of hope, healing, growth. Their feelings towards you, the Wheel of Fortune, which is all about these kind of karmic connections, these, you know, soul contracts, soulmates, karmic ties, you know, soul lessons, all of that kind of stuff. And I definitely feel that with this person. And usually when we see the Wheel of Fortune, there's usually very powerful soul lessons that have been, you know, learnt through a connection. And that's, you know, that's also the energies of the Star. It's also about healing, renewal, and really integrating, you know, those powerful soul lessons, because I do feel that in your energy. I feel like, you know, this is a connection which really kind of churned up some really deep stuff in you. And I feel that on both sides, actually. I feel like there may have been a bit of distance for some time between you and this person. And I feel like you've both been kind of going through a little bit of a healing process with some, like I said, some tough soul lessons here. Their intentions towards you, the Four of Swords. So I see them coming forward, but the Four of Swords is also a held back energy. Often this does represent no contact. I always look at this as my no contact card. This is when someone closes off, shuts down. You know, it's very much a card of going within, going into a place of stillness, regaining energy, and also where a person, I feel, really gets in touch with their true feelings. You know, so whenever there is some kind of no contact situation, like, it's never ever an empty space. You know, sometimes it can be, you know, quite difficult not to kind of reach out, bridge the gap, you know, things like that. And I think sometimes there's a fear to kind of feel that distance, that you're going to lose somebody. But actually, you know, when there are these moments of no contact, there's a lot going on. There's a lot of healing going on. There's a lot of processing. There's a lot of going within. And it's a very, very reflective energy. So it's never ever that nothing is happening in those moments of quietness or stillness. Your feelings towards your person, the Sun. So this is a card of clarity, but it's also about potential. And I definitely feel, you know, with that Eight of Pentacles and the Sun, you know, this is definitely somebody that you saw a potential with. This may be someone that, you know, you had down as your life partner here, because it's all about potential, seeing the potential in the person, in the connection. And whoever this is, you know, it's someone significant in your life. But the question is, I feel, how much have they changed? Have they changed? Because, you know, the caution I keep feeling here is, you know, if this is something that is going to, you know, reignite, it's so important that it moves forward differently from last time. That whatever issues were there in the past, you know, there now needs to be a willingness to, you know, put things in place for things to change, and for on each side, you know, each person to take accountability and put that effort in, you know, otherwise, if that doesn't happen, you're just going to end up having a repeat of the past. But I do feel like you're dealing with someone who is beginning to, I feel, understand the connection a lot more, and to understand the significance of the connection with that Wheel of Fortune there. So in the challenge, we have the Hanged Man, seeing things from a different perspective. This is all about taking a pause, and, you know, when we take a pause and we take a step back, it allows us to perhaps look at things differently, to gain some kind of fresh perspective on this. I feel like you see the potential here, but I feel like there's a little bit of a guarded energy because of what has gone down in the past. And I do think it's important to have discernment here, definitely. But there is also perhaps a little invitation to maybe look at things from a different perspective as well, with the energies of the Hanged Man there. This can also represent someone who is just hanging there, just especially with that Four of Swords, with the no, that's the no contact card. You know, someone who, even though they may have made a reappearance, they're still kind of holding back. Some of you might be in no contact, you know, maybe this person hasn't kind of re-entered your life just yet. Maybe that's what I'm kind of reading here, someone that's holding back, but they're beginning to understand, you know, the significance and, you know, the value of you, and the importance of the connection, you know, the deeper understanding of that. But it might be that they're still kind of a little bit held back and kind of not really coming forward just yet. Your hidden influence is the Seven of Pentacles, which is a card again of taking a pause, taking a step back, and really taking stock, you know, looking at what you have. What is this? It's really a card absolutely of using that discernment, which I just talked about, moving forwards. Because Seven of Pentacles is about looking at what you have and working out, you know, where you're going to invest your energies, and, you know, who or what you're going to invest your energies in here. So with your advice from the universe, conflict, Five of Wands. You may be feeling that inside of yourself about this, you know, an inner conflict of some sort. And whenever we feel like that, I do feel it's not to kind of rush in and make a decision. Like, there is no rush. If this is something, you know, somebody who's meant to be in your life, You know, they're not going to just kind of go away if you don't make some kind of decision tomorrow. I feel like this is about just taking your time, take a step back from it, and really connect to your heart on this one. And really listen to what your heart's saying. Like, we have to also be willing to, I always say, be brutally honest with what your heart's telling you. Because our heart always tells us, but a lot of the time we don't want to hear it. We're not really listening. And, you know, I just feel that, you know, you may be feeling quite conflicted about this. So take your time, take a pause, and, you know, really take the time to kind of connect to your inner wisdom and your heart with this one. What lies in the outcome? Temperance, a card of healing, of balance, moderation, patience. So definitely, again, that message of, you know, not going rushing in, just taking your time here. And beyond that, the Six of Swords. So this is all about integrating the lessons from the past, the soul lessons, and, you know, moving away from challenging times to calmer waters, to a place of healing. And there is an invitation, there's two figures in the boat here, of potentially, you know, doing that with this person. And if it's someone that you choose, you know, not to kind of reactivate things with, then this is all about, you know, you investing in you and healing and growing and moving into a better space. And just trusting that there will be, you know, your person for you that lies, you know, on that calmer shore. So I'm going to get your person's hidden message. This is more for those of you who are in some kind of no contact situation. Sagittarius. Just being near you is intoxicating. I wish I could take back my words. Feels like someone's feeling a little bit regretful. You and I were too young. I feel like that always speaks of, you know, kind of stage, emotional maturity, and, you know, being able to perhaps be accountable and really work on kind of things, you know, issues as they come up. I want to tell you how I feel. I am becoming a better person. I love that. So Sagittarius, I'm going to leave that there. If this reading resonated, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. And as always, no matter what comes through in a reading, moving forwards, always trust what feels right for you. So thanks so much for being here, and I wish you a great month ahead.